what's going on, guys? Brandon here. I know I've been slow to upload on this channel, but in short, some exciting times ahead with a new car to film that I've been wanting to get my hands on for a little bit of time now. But this is not my typical wheelhouse of a video, kind of doing one of these story time things, but it's one of those things I have to do because I have to give some context to a little bit of, fun footage I'm going to show today. But pretty much in short, I don't know what I'm going to title this video, but probably something along the lines of buying an SVT GT500 from Carvana. Maybe I'll throw that in the title as well. And so that is all true. Last Wednesday, so almost a week ago from the day I'm filming this, hopefully this goes up soon after I film it. But within the week I did, in fact, take delivery of a 2014 SVT GT500. So very, very excited about that. Don't get me wrong. So that means, of course, exciting content to film on this channel. Even though I've been slow to upload, it's about to kick up quite a bit. However, it's not in my garage, and there's a little bit of minor drama going on. Not too much drama, but just things I need to fill you guys in on so you guys kind of are on the same page with me. That way, next time I start uploading content on this car, you guys are just caught up to speed. That being said, quick little update for my remaining loyal subscribers, all 5 of you guys. I came up with this YouTube channel, and I named it Exotic Cars 19 back when I was 15 years old. Seems like an awesome name at the time. For the last 2 years, I've been kind of sick of it because most of the content I was making was on personal vehicles and they weren't exotic. Still love exotic cars, but also like everything else, off-road stuff, my personal vehicles, the Raptors, stuff like that. So it's just Texas Revving now, changed the name of it because the sister channel, my main gig, what I do for a living is a different YouTube channel called Texas Plinking. You guys may not have known that. So Texas Revving, Texas Plinking go hand in hand. So that's the name change. All right, let's move past that. Needed to happen. Exotic Cars 19 was a little childish, but it's all good. All right, so let's get back to the story. So yes, the GT500, 2013 or 2014 SVT GT500 is the car that I've always thought was super cool. It probably came out when I was a freshman or sophomore in high school, so obviously couldn't afford it, and just started driving anyway. But very, very cool car. I did like it for a long time. Fast forward a couple years, finally got some money, and I bought a 2017 GT350, which I still have and love. Didn't really look back into the 500 until recently. I started thinking about how things are going and how everything's kind of going smaller displacement, manuals are going away. And I've been saying for the last couple of years that a SVT GT500, specifically a 13 or 14, is a very good purchase. One that I think, of course, this market currently is kind of crazy, but one that I think you could actually buy, drive around, romp around a little bit, and actually come ahead on the market when you decide to sell it. Especially in the next decade, I think you're going to see those values skyrocket quite a bit. So these thoughts, not that I'm biased now because I have one, but these are the thoughts that made me want to pull the trigger on one. And so I was talking with a buddy of mine maybe 2.5 weeks ago, and I'm like, you know what? I've always thought that, but let me see if I could get some financing together. I think that's a good purchase. Let me see if I can find a clean one. And sure enough, I went on Auto Trader. Didn't take a whole lot of time to scroll around, and I saw a listing that was actually a redirect over to Carvana. Carvana had one listed that was very, very clean. Not the cheapest one on the market. In fact, it's kind of a premium, so I assumed I was going to get a very, very clean car. Overall, it is clean, but we'll get into it a little bit more. So in short, I found a ruby red, so same as the other Raptor I have. Very pretty, white stripes, probably my favorite spec of that car. It had 6,970 miles, so unbelievably low miles, and every option you could have possibly got except for the sunroof, which I'm okay without, but that is kind of cool. That being said, it has the track pack, the tech pack, the big navigation screen, all that kind of stuff. So it's fully loaded. The MSRP on it was $68,000 and change, and they were selling for about a $5,000 markup at the time back in 2014. So that being said, it wasn't the cheapest one on the market. They priced this one at $61,900 and change. There were other ones for the high 50s, like 58, 59. I was willing to pay this premium because obviously low miles, every option in the book, as well as it was Carvana with a 7-day return policy, 150-point inspection. So I figured I was going to get a very, very clean car. Again, overall, it's pretty darn clean. In the Carvana listing, they had disclosed one thing, and my thinking was if they disclosed this, must be a clean car. They disclosed one single rock chip. They said the car's perfect. On the front, one single rock chip. And I went, okay, if they disclosed that, we got a clean car. It had the factory GT500 mats with the dealership or factory installed plastic still on there. There's actually a panel in the back with a little bit of plastic that never got removed. It's a clean car. So I paid the premium thinking, okay, it shouldn't be too mileage sensitive at 62 grand, let's call it. I can take this car in with just under 7,000 miles, romp around pretty good, and if anything, lose barely anything or come ahead, especially if I keep it for some years, which is obviously the plan. Personally, 70% of why I bought this car is because I've been wanting it. I want to drive it. I think these GT500s, being the last GT500 with a manual and with Carroll Shelby knowing of it and everything, as well as other things, it was a good purchase. And so 70% is because I wanted it. 30%, if I'm being honest, is because I think it's a good investment. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I get a cool car. All right, so moving past that, got financing all settled up. Money's pretty cheap right now. I'm no Dave Ramsey, don't do as I say, but I got a good loan on it, actually, pretty darn fair. So I was able to swing it, and so sure enough, committed to the car, and it said it was gonna be delivered on a Wednesday. Well, last Wednesday, I'm excited, I'm very eager. I got insurance all squared away. I got, some new license plate frame, a keychain. I'm getting all amped up for the 500 coming in. So on Wednesday, I get a text from some local rep from Carvana here in Austin, Texas, a local guy. And he says, hey, your car's scheduled to be, delivered to your home today at 3 p.m. But one thing we're considering is if you can just pick it up because we don't want to chance the vehicle scraping, loading up and loading back down in your driveway. And I went, oh, that's totally fine. So they actually arranged an Uber for me to be picked up at my house, picked me up, about a 25, 30-minute drive, went to their facility over here, and there was the car. So real quickly, before I could even look at the car, and this is on footage as well, this isn't going to be just me talking inside. I'll kind of show you the footage I got during the day that I thought I was going to edit as it happened, but of course, there's some things I have to fill you guys on. But anyway, saw the car, looked over it for maybe 10 seconds, and then a Carvana rep saw me and said, hey, Brandon, you want to look over it now? You want to do paperwork first? What do you want to do? I'm like, yeah, just give me a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and look over the car. Looked really, really good, except for when you look it up closely. So they disclosed a single rock chip. Now, I will say, me personally, especially when I'm buying a car like this, where 30% of me is thinking about collectability and investment, I'm going to be a little bit more particular on certain things, but I think we all are as car guys, unless like we have a car that we love for its patina. This certain car, they disclosed one single rock chip. I was looking over the front, and it was absolutely peppered with the rock chips. It's okay. I have a touch-up kit here because it matches my Raptor, so my 2014 Raptor. So I have a touch-up kit ready to go, and I have a really good buddy of mine who's a detailer who can do the touch-up, paint correction, all that stuff. So I was expecting a rock chip and maybe imperfect paint. That's kind of acceptable. Well, I had a little bit more than that. So it had rock chips just absolutely everywhere. Some of them more severe than others. Some of them on the white vinyl, but kind of minor there, thankfully. Swirl marks were very, very badly. Those like love scratches. Some of them weren't so much love. Some of them were even deeper. There's one on the front left quarter panel, quite a deeper scratch. My buddy looked at it and said, I don't know if I can make it perfect, but I can make it look a lot better. So I started trying to be easy with myself, knowing that it is a 2014 Mustang, but even my 2017 GT350 is only 3 years newer. It has more miles than this car, and my 350 is in way better shape. So I expected a little bit better, but it's okay. Cosmetically, I'm kind of accepting it. The SVT panels by the dorsals were a little bit worn out. Wasn't too happy with that. So also, two more things now that I'm thinking about it. Steering wheel was scratched on the plastic side, like a deep scratch, and the shift knob had a scuff on it too. Maybe a not too deep, but a scratch on it that's not going to buff out. Okay, so those are the imperfections I saw there. The window sticker wasn't in there. Not a big deal. Would like to have it, but the SVT booklet with the instruction manuals was also missing. I wish they disclosed that. That all being said, those were my little surprises. Of course, I was still willing to accept the car, but I made sure that the rep there made note of these things. That way we could see what our course of action would be going forward to see what we could do. So he noted it down and said, hey, you'll probably be in contact with like a third-party warranty company tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, third-party warranty. Okay, interesting. I'm like, is that a pain in the butt to deal with? He says, not really. It's okay. But sometimes third parties can be the way they are. So I'm like, interesting. Okay. So anyway, I'm ready to go. This isn't ideal as far as the condition, but I'm not gonna be too much of a stickler about it. I'll get it perfect on my own if the third party warranty doesn't want to do anything. So, as long as it's not obviously mechanical. Sign everything. I'm like, I hope I could deal with these little imperfections later. Thankfully, like I said, a buddy of mine is going to deal with the majority of it as far as cosmetic stuff. So left there, got a little driving impression back home. I'll show a little bit of that footage here, but yeah, pretty much just drove it home and went, forget about it. I'm going to analyze this when I get home. At worst, I have a 7-day return policy. All right, well, signed everything. I'm going to analyze a little bit more when I get home, but I'm sure it's going to be a good driver. That's a different sound than that Voodoo. That's interesting seeing the reflection of this car. It's a new sight. All right, let's get home. Ooh, I can tell tell this one's gonna be a little fast. All right. Jesus Christ. Yeah, this drives way more like a traditional Mustang would. The GT350 feels like a more world-class sports car. This is very, very Mustang-like. I'm looking forward to getting past the learning curve and flooring it a little bit more, but so far it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. That supercharger whine sounds pretty cool. Damn. So I'm driving it home, getting my first impressions with it. It's very, very different than what I'm used to, but I'm very excited, as you can see from the footage, to learn about it and you know, go over my slow learning curve and start having fun with the car. My mind's already spinning on what I want to do with the car as far as an exhaust or whatever else. The previous owner had put a different intake filter, as well as the resonator delete in the intake tube and a JLT oil catch can. These are 3 things I would have done myself, so I was happy to see that. They didn't disclose that, but that's okay. These are very healthy mods. If you want to even call them mods. They're just very, very healthy things I would have done. But anyway, I was thinking about how to go that, you know, even further there. I was thinking about what exhaust I was going to put and all that kind of stuff on the way home, just enjoying it. Well, I'm about to back up into my driveway, going through all the gears, 1 through 6, everything felt really good. The clutch felt different, but good. And then as I put it in reverse, it grinded the heck out of it. And I went, okay, maybe I did something wrong. I'm pretty sure the clutch was all the way depressed. And then I depressed it even firmer and still grinded. And then I had to fight it and it finally went into reverse. And so that scared me a little bit. First time I ever put the car in reverse, finally got it in reverse, backed it into my garage. And I'm like, okay, let's see how good this warranty is going to be, because something's going to have to happen. I park in my garage, a little unnerving, but I also just want to have a good day. Just got the car, so I'm trying to forget about it. My buddy comes in, or comes to my house, who's super stoked about this car. My buddy who actually kind of helped, you know, talked me into the car. We were both talking about the car 2.5 weeks before I purchased it, or before it got delivered. That guy comes over to my house, and I told him the problem I'm having. He's like, it's probably not that big of a deal. If everything else feels fine, it's probably not a big deal. So he hops in the driver's seat and we go for a drive right, you know, outside of my neighborhood on the larger road here. He's going through the gears, feeling the power band. He's enjoying it. I'm going to show some of that footage here as well.
Wow, they really missed this spot and this spot.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was a bad wash job. They didn't even call it a wash, they called it a detail.
All right, look, I'm not going to say anything for political correctness, but someone washed it that shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Helen Keller. It smells like a new car, though.
Yeah, I farted.
Huh? I just got what you said. Oh, bro, this is nice. Oh, that's nasty. See if I told. Bro, that's a mile like that.
Yeah, it was 55, I think, is what you said.
Yeah, no. 35.
35.
I'm in a school zone.
So he's obviously enjoying the car. It is a freaking sweet car. But it's important to note, sorry if I'm going out of order here, it's important to note that this car was never inspected in Texas. So they told me, hey, within like, you know, a week or two, go ahead and get your state inspection. And I figured, oh, it's probably because the car just came from out of state and it's Carvana. They just, you know, so I have to pay for about an $18 or so state inspection, and they were going to credit me back $25 just because of the inconvenience. I figured no big deal. However, he did mention something like, make sure you drive the car for about 50 to 100 miles before you do that, because in the meantime, it's going to throw a code like CO2 or whatever, because we just reset something, and they might have disconnected the battery for all I know, but for whatever reason, I would have thrown a code. I just needed to drive at 50 miles. So I didn't think much of it. I went, no problem. Back to the drive I was going on with my buddy. He pulls off into a neighborhood so we can swap seats. And as we're swapping seats, he notices that the tires are from 2013. Now, initially, that kind of pissed me off because in Texas, we used to have something to where you won't pass inspections, state inspection, if your tires are over 5 years old. So right when I saw that, I was pretty pissed because I was like, okay, well, now I'm going to be out the price of tires just to pass inspection. Carvana should have done that, which I still believe they should have. Well, I looked into the law, and they got rid of that. Now it's about tread depth. And even then, this car is quite low on tread depth, probably right on that fine line to see if it could even pass inspection. But when you're paying, you know, about 62 grand for a car with in that condition, fair market value is probably more so around 60. I paid that couple grand premium thinking I was going to get a super clean car that needs absolutely nothing. Well, it needs tires, so we're going to see what the heck they want to do about that. That's still pending. I don't have an answer just yet. Anyway, I also tell my buddy, hey, actually, before we swap seats, sit back in the driver's seat and see reverse real quickly. He's like, oh, dude, I'm sure it's not a big deal, and grind. And he's like, well, never mind. So we're messing with it, and still it grinds every single time you want to put it in reverse. Some of that's on footage as well. I'll go ahead and show that in a bit here. So we're driving it, and at this point now, my heart's racing a little bit. I'm like, okay, worst case scenario, I could just return the car, but I don't want to. It's a cool car. I'm enjoying it, but my mind's spinning with, okay, I'm going to need tires. I'm going to need something to do with the gearbox. That can't be cheap. So my mind's obviously looking at worst case scenario. The condition's not as great as I thought. So this all is happening within like 2 hours. So I'm thinking worst case scenarios, of course, is what you do. It wasn't buyer's remorse. It was just surprises that, you know, I don't like surprises.
We'll put it back in first real quick. I mean, clutch all the way in. You gotta be super authoritative, not too much though. Is that even in gear?
No.
Nope, that one's not. All right, so it's just,
You're in the spacer.
see that? I'm not trying to do that. And once you get past it, as long as the clutch is still engaged, we're there.
Anyway, so we're trying to feel the car out a little bit more. So we go on the small road with no traffic to do a couple of pulls because, well, one, it's fun, but also just to feel the car out. Of course, that's on video. Damn. So this was bittersweet because obviously we're enjoying the car, enjoying how it sounds, how it drives and everything, but I'm still thinking to myself, what's wrong with this car? I don't even know the protocol. What do I do? Do I call Carvana? Do I call whoever the third-party warranty is? Whatever. So I'm finding more and more things. I'm trying to get my bulletin list down. Okay, tires for the state inspection need to happen. I hope Carvana or the third-party warranty covers that. The cosmetic stuff, and something's up with the transmission. So that's this is the list I'm starting to build. So then I kind of honestly went to bed that night. The day I got the car, we're supposed to be a really exciting day. I went to bed that night with a game plan that was a little bit more grim. I said, I'm going to call whoever I need to call tomorrow, being Thursday then. And if I feel any restriction or any kind of restraint to help me and solve these problems, I'm just going to hold them to their return policy. And I hate doing that because the car was pretty freaking cool. So I went to bed with that thought. Right in the morning, I call Carvana. I'm like, hey, here's the situation I got going on. And they said, well, you're gonna have to contact our third-party warranty. I'm like, really? Like, I'm just describing these things very point blank, like, yep. And I'm like, even for tires? And they said, yes, go through the warranty, third-party warranty for tires. I'm like, that's ridiculous. Third-party warranty is a company called Silver Rock. So I call them, and to no avail so far because apparently it might seem easier if you're already a body shop. However, also in that next morning, I woke up to an email saying, from Silver Rock, I believe, or from Carvana, I forgot, but it was something like, hey, we noted your cosmetic defects. Please bring your car to our preferred body shop in like South Austin, Mako. I don't know if you guys know anything about Mako. Maybe there's some really good Mako shops out there. I personally have had experience with like a black Subaru BRZ from years and years ago that probably none of you guys remember. I went to Mako for it. And oh my goodness, it was just the absolute worst thing ever. So maybe for like a standard car, like, you know, the standard Carvana car, 15 to 20 some grand, Mako will do fine work. But for a stickler like me, talking about like a $62,000 collector Shelby, I'm not going to Mako. So then I contacted someone at Carvana and they said, well, if you're not going to go to Mako, you could go anywhere else, but that's on you. You're gonna have to pay for all that. And then I called someone else from Carvana and they said, no, that's not true. You're just gonna have a $50 copay, which is better news, but the whole mix up of like, I don't know what's right, what's wrong, when do I go through the third party warranty? And it was just a big of a mix up. So what I ended up doing, and this isn't going through by the way, right then and there, I said, you know what, forget it. I called Carvana again. I said, I need to return this car, thinking it was gonna be a big hassle. And they said, so sorry to hear that. As long as you didn't put 400 miles on it, you're within your 7 days, which of course I was. They said, sure, Friday at 9 a.m., does that work with you? And this was literally Thursday I'm calling. And I went, yes. What do I need to do online? They said, nothing. Just go there, you're gonna sign something, hand over the keys, all the paper and all that stuff. And as soon as we get it and inspect that we got the car back, we'll take care of it as far as the lending side of things. And I went, okay, that's pretty darn easy. So good on Carvana. If I were to return it, it would have been pretty simple. So with that being said, I drove the car the rest of Thursday, still keeping it under 400 miles because I'm like, well, this car's not going to be around past tomorrow, so let's enjoy it. So I went to go drive it around, and unfortunately, the more I drove it on Thursday, the more I fell in love with it. So I didn't want to get put back in the market and try to find another clean car, and maybe I wouldn't have bought anything. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, what are the chances? It's a pretty minor problem. So my buddy Manny, the guy I mentioned earlier, he started looking into it, as did I, and it seemed like when reverse has a problem, but 1 through 6 feels fine, it might be quite a simple thing. Maybe I just need to change the transmission oil. Maybe it's something with a solenoid or a synchro or something like that. It might be small, it might be big, I don't know. But I always thought that I had a warranty that was as long as my return policy, so the crunch time would have been terrible. Actually, I looked into it. It's a 100-day warranty at under 4,200 miles or something like that. So then I thought, okay, maybe it's not that big of a crunch time. And so then I brought the car to my local Ford dealership who I've serviced all my cars with, Mack Hike Ford in Georgetown. So I brought it there and I said, hey, I don't know what's going on. Can you guys do an inspection? They said they can. They're going to go through a whole inspection knowing that the transmission is the source of what they want to see. They said, but the problem is it's going to be about 1 to 2 weeks. I went, okay, but if we open the ticket now, you guys contact Silver Rock, deal with them. I'll shoot over an email with a bulletin list of some cosmetic things I want replaced, but certainly the transmission and all that kind of stuff. And they said, yeah, we'll be in contact with them on Monday. Well, today I'm filming this on Monday, so I did go to the dealership and touch base with them, and they said, yeah, we're doing as much as we can, but that dealership's going to be backed up for about a week or two, as is Silver Rock is super slow to respond to them. So unfortunately, that's kind of the latest. I'm committing to keeping the car because the Ford dealership, Mack Hike, said, we've actually dealt with Carvana cars in that third-party warranty, Silver Rock, and they told me they're actually, surprisingly, not totally unreasonable. So absolutely, worst case scenario, I need a new transmission. Like the Synchro went bad at 7,000 miles, which is hard to believe. They said, if for worst case scenario, you're gonna need a $6,000 transmission, $2,000 worth of labor. Silver Rock will cover it, and if that seems egregious to them, they're gonna send an inspector confirming that's the case, and they will take care of that. I'm like, interesting. Okay, so then as they were saying that, one employee at the dealership and one customer sitting behind me both pretty much confirmed that and said, oh, we're Carvana customers. They replaced a key fob for me, no problem. They did this for me. So I'm a little bit more confident with that. So I'm committing to keeping the car. So that's the good news. There's gonna be some exciting content coming up pretty soon. But in the meantime, I dropped that car off on, I forgot, I think it was Friday. Yeah, Friday. When it was supposed to be picked up, I actually, on Thursday, I called Carvana. I said, cancel that. Can we delay it a little bit further? And they did. So on Friday, I brought the car to the dealership. I don't think they did anything on Saturday. They're closed Sunday. Today is now Monday. I went there for something else. I brought some tires and wheels to them for the Raptor for some other work. And I ended up asking, what's the latest on them? And they said they're trying to get a hold of Silver Rock. It's a little slow, but, they're taking care of it as best they can. So that's the latest. Real quickly, one little resolution we found as far as reverse, how we got it to work, is if I depress the clutch all the way in and I put it in first, while holding the clutch, I then put it in reverse, it goes into gear no problem for the most part. Otherwise, even without doing that, sometimes it would go into reverse, but like 5% of the time. You pay for a car that you want to be perfect, you pay the premium for it to be perfect, and then this happens. It's not ideal. My opinion on Carvana isn't quite 5 out of 5, obviously, because I would have figured when they disclose a single rock chip, I would have figured that's a clean car, but they didn't disclose how the whole front end was peppered, a couple scratches on the quarter panels, the worn out panel, I could go on and on. So they didn't disclose all that. I figured for that premium, I was getting a clean car, but I guess within that premium, I did get a Silver Rock warranty. My opinions on Silver Rock so far, they're pretty darn slow, but we're gonna see what they're willing to do. It's 100 days. And so, we got 90 something days left. So we'll see. Hopefully before too long though, the car is back in my hands. Hopefully it was a minor problem and I get it pretty soon, or if it's a major problem, they're going to take care of it, supposedly. And that'll be that. So that all being said, it's pretty exciting. I'll get the car back, hopefully no later than 2 weeks, which isn't ideal, but still it's going to be exciting nonetheless. So yeah, that's that. And here's how immature I am. When I drove the car, like I said, I started to fall in love with it quite heavily. I have a slow learning curve, so I started getting really comfortable and loving it. My only opinion on it was way too quiet. It sounded good. The mufflers sound good. It's just way quiet. It's like a good song on volume 3. I need it at 10 or 11. So how immature am I? I've already committed to keeping it. So I've already ordered some MagnaFlow muffler deletes. So that will be pretty nice. I heard that's tasteful, but not too loud. So those will get installed after the car checks out. Everything's all good to go with it. Maybe I'll get an extended factory warranty. We'll see what we want to do. But then after all that, first video I'm going to make with it right when it comes in is making it a little bit louder, and we're going to start getting into it. My buddy Manny's going to go ahead and paint correct it, ceramic it. This car just needs a loving owner, and that's what I want to be for it. But it's going to be a pretty cool garage. I got the 2 Raptors. I still want to make that tan one a project truck and go Bajaing with it and all that stuff. I'm slowly piecing that together, very slowly. The red truck is the daily driver. The blue GT350 is just an absolute sweetheart, and it's done. I'm not doing anything to it. And this GT500 is going to be a fun video series for sure. Maybe we'll compare the 350 and the 500. And I still, by the way, I still want the new GT500, but unfortunately I have a very particular configuration I want, and I want it for MSRP. So, you know, that one's going to have to wait. But it's going to be a fun time nonetheless. I'm excited to get back into uploading regularly, but that'll be that. Sorry I had to go into a story time. I wish the first video with the GT500 just could have been a fun pickup day. But a little bit of context, that has been my experience so far buying a SVT GT500 from Carvana. Story not complete, so look up for an update once I hear something, but that's as latest for me. That all being said, that's going to do it for this video, and I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys very soon. Take care.